everybody in this room, makes this program special. There are volleyball programs across the country in big schools that don't have the kind of support that we have, and that's what makes it special. That's what makes our players love it here. That's what makes our coaches love it here. So you guys are wonderful fans, and you're wonderful for showing up for events like this. It makes things worth it for us. I want to thank Bree for everything in my life, actually. And Bree is really the person that runs this event. She's had help from Olivia and McKenna and Taylor, who's helping us tonight. I want to thank my assistant coaches. Luke and Emily are both here. Please give them a hand, because as I get older in this, I give a lot more over to those guys, and they do a fantastic job. We have an unbelievable administration at Colorado State that really supports this sport the way it should be supported, and just starting with Joe Parker, who you heard from earlier. Our new SWA and Senior Associate AD Shalini Shankar is here. Chris Ferris, who is our Associate AD, I think he's in charge of external and revenue or something like that, but he's basically the guy that is in charge of bringing in money. But he's also tasked with the fan experience. And I think he's one of the most innovative guys we've had in our athletic department in a long time. And Chris, will you stand up? Where's he at? Very good. And Steve Cottingham, our business, he's their deputy athletic director, so he's the second in charge, runs the business office. He does an unbelievable job. He was an AD himself. I mean, we have great people working in our athletic department, and they all believe that volleyball is an important, valuable part of CSU athletics, and that it's not that way everywhere. And I certainly appreciate it. I want to recognize Sarah, and I know this is kind of her graduation night. And Sarah, you really have added a lot to our athletic department. And Mary and Jay, you guys have been great. And I think that, although we won't be doing as many organized things with Sarah, I think our team is probably going to maintain a really strong relationship. And I know they will, because I know they love her very much. So thank you very much, Sarah and the Robinson family. You saw the highlight film, recap the season. In all these seasons, I like to appreciate the journey, and we had a very, very good year. It does not get old. It is not a normal thing, and we think, we win the conference every year. It's always a challenge. It's always difficult. We always have a target on our back. And this year, we lost some very key players, and I thought we played some great matches early against really tough competition, and then we just stumbled on the road a little bit. And kind of, what those things do is they show you areas that you need to work on, and they challenge you as a coaching staff, and we challenge the players as a team to get better at certain things in the middle of a season. Not all teams do that. A lot of teams, especially experienced ones, come in and they sit at a certain plateau, and you just hope to keep them there for the whole season. We had to improve in a number of areas, and these players took the task and did it. And it was a wonderful journey to watch. Would we have liked to have a better NCAA tournament? We absolutely would. And I think you heard Katie talk about it in there. We don't want to go out and be one and done, and Tennessee was a winnable match. We know it, and it stings, and it should sting, and I think that will make these players work harder in the offseason to make sure that we are better competitors so that doesn't happen again. But these kids stood up to the challenge this year, and when they were faced with a couple of road losses and feeling like, are we the same Ram team? They changed, they got better, and they worked hard, and we went on an incredible winning streak, and we had some unbelievable matches on the road after the Fresno, Wyoming thing that I was just sit back as a fan was amazed by. So Ladies, my hat's off to you. I love coaching this group of players because not only are they wonderful athletes, they're great students, and they're wonderful people, high character people. Please join me in saying this is a fantastic group of players, and I'm excited to return them all for next year. You know, and so I'm going to take this time, as I always do, to tell a story of the season in my own special way. I like to think of different things every year, and I've set a standard for myself. So I want to do this in a story. And tonight's story is actually a sequel. Okay, a sequel to a story I told in 2012 when the 4 seniors on the Ram volleyball team were actually a team of superheroes called the Fantastic Four. The story took place in a city that never sleeps. In a metropolis called Ramtown. The story was complete with everything: superheroes, evil villainous gangs like the Lobos and the Wolverines, a police captain, and then, of course, there's me. I'm a no-good nuisance newsman who turns over every stone to find the real truth about volleyball. My name is Carl Aradowan. And I'm going to tell you a story, and I narrate my stories in a film noir style where the writing is dark and the one-liners are corny. It was a hot day last August. So hot I looked out my window and saw a fire hydrant chasing a pack of dogs. I was sitting in my shoddy office in downtown Ramtown putting the finishing touches on a story about a volleyball tournament between all the local craft brewers. New Belgium had won. It seemed they had more hops. Yeah, that's a good joke, come on. My typewriter was humming with the clicks and bells like a slot machine about to pay off, but all my coworkers would do was complain about the noise. They all use computers now, I just never made the switch. I've been the beat writer for Ram Volleyball since 2012 when I broke the story that the team was filled with superheroes. I had just published an expose about each of the new superheroes and their powers. It wasn't easy, and they didn't like it. Superheroes like their privacy. Superpowers and true identities aren't something they chat about in the local tavern, but hey, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I had a poodle for breakfast. Carl Aradowan is going to get the truth, and I don't care how personal it gets. So here's what this year's squad looks like. There's Jessica Knight. She lost her right arm in a car accident and was replaced by a bionic limb that smacks anything it touches with super force. She attacks the ball well, but has problems on first dates. You have the Rams law enforcement arm, a trio known as the Back Row Police. Officer Jenna, Maddie, also known as Sergeant Stretch, and of course, Commander Amanda. Like all great volleyball defenders, their motto is to serve and protect. You've got Bumblebee. She flies high and fast, has a nasty sting. You've heard of the X-Men, well, meet the X-Women. Incredible Ellie puts up a force shield that blocks anything opponents try to hit past her. Jackie, known as Jack 1, hits so hard it creates a sonic boom. Sasha, the Storm, her serve is so tough it creates its own weather system. The setter on the team is Katie Oleksak, the Wonder Woman. Her hands are so soft that they're so. I tried to come up with a really good hand joke, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. Backing up at setter is super intelligent cyborg, half human, half machine Sierra Cybergirl. A computer once beat her at chess, so she beat it in kickboxing. There's Paulina, the Spider Woman. She stealthily flies all around the net, shooting spikes from her wrists. I asked her how she got her spider identity, and she said, "Just look me up on the web." I told you they're corny. Then there's Olivia, the Transformer. She can change into any position. She's played middle, outside, right side, libero. She once asked me, "Why doesn't Tom just make me the head coach? I played everything else." And finally, the tallest of all superheroes, Kirstie, the American Titan. Uncle Sam has nothing on her. She's the only superhero running for public office. If elected, she's writing legislation to ban all ceiling fans. When I first saw her walking around Ramtown, I said, "Do you play basketball?" She goes, "No. Do you play mini golf?" And you can't forget little Sarah, the one they all love like a little sister. And she was growing up right in front of them. When they met her 4 years ago, she was very sick. She had to go through many procedures, trips to the hospital, medicine, and treatments. The superheroes always felt they needed to protect her and keep her safe. They sat in the hospital while she fought optic glioma. They watched her condition improve. They watched her grow up so much in the last 4 years. Then a call came in on my dial-up landline. It was Captain Jeff in Superhero Media Relations. "Carl, you know Ram Volleyball opens the season tonight against the Fighting Illini. Thousands of Ramtown residents are here to watch their team defend Moby Arena. I had to get down there right away. I put on my hat and looked to snub out my cigarette, but there were no ashtrays. Every building in Ramtown is a no-smoking facility. When I walked into Moby Arena, the place was going crazy. The Fighting Illini had smacked the Rams in the mouth in the first 2 sets. Then Bumblebee flew in with her stinger in full force. She was spiking like a bartender at a frat party. The Illini game was back on their heels. Sarah cheered on her superhero sisters. They fought hard, but the superpowers weren't enough. The Illini won in 5. But there was no time for them to lick their wounds. Moby had to be defended, and the Super Rams had a job to do. In the next few weeks, they stuffed the Seminoles and the Horned Frogs in tough battles. Bumblebee and American Titan dominated. They brought down the Seahawks, Tigers, and Bears. Their superpowers were on display. Wonder Woman set them up, and Spider Woman knocked them down, and Sarah cheered with all her might. Sarah stayed home when they invaded the Wolverines' den. It proved costly. The American Titan towered over everyone, but Amanda was flying so fast she had a high-speed collision. Sergeant Stretch hit her so hard she had a headache she couldn't cure. Amanda was out, and they didn't know when they would be back. Officer Jenna filled in. You can bang up the back row police, but you can't take away their dignity. That was also a very corny joke. The Rams had won 8 battles and lost 4. They were about to take on the evil gangs of the Mountain West, but something was awry. They could jump high, hit hard, but there was something missing. Superpowers that they couldn't identify. They were beat up and worn down. They were all going to a top-secret lab for superhero rehab, hoping that would help. There are special doctors who understand superpowers, like Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike was trained well in superhero medical procedures, and even he was baffled. Of course, this is the same doctor who was once asked to examine the Invisible Man, and he said, "I'm sorry, I can't see him right now." Come on! Still battered and tired, they limped through the first 2 conference wins, and then things got scarier than Joe Parker in a clown suit. No one's safe in this PowerPoint. They invaded Fresno and got bit by a pack of bulldogs. They invaded Wyoming and lost to the Cowgirls. Something needed to happen. The safety of Ramtown was in question. They needed more superpowers, powers they didn't have and couldn't define. I pushed my way through the crowd at the post-game press conference. Captain Jeff stopped me and said I couldn't go in, and then I showed him my hat. Apparently that hat wasn't official enough, so I just yelled my questions at the coaches. What's going on with the superheroes? Is Ramtown in danger? What are they missing? There was no answer from the coaches. Then I yelled, what's with your old school coaching outfits? Why is Emily the only coach that dresses with any class on your staff? They tossed me out of there on my ear. I went back to the office the next morning to file my notes. My secretary, Sabrina, had cut her hair. I said, hey, you're not such a bad-looking dame under all that hair. She immediately filed a complaint against me. It seems that's inappropriate language in the workplace, plus nobody says the word dame anymore. I started my story with the headline, Ramtown in Danger, and we don't know why. Superheroes lose 2 in a row for the first time in years. Something is missing. It was a long 3 days until the next battle. Then something happened. Something changed. I couldn't put my finger on it, but while fighting the Falcons, they all seemed to get more confidence. It was like an outside force had infiltrated all of them. Commander Amanda, her head got better. She was back in the lineup. They grounded Air Force. They went on the road and dominated. They won 5 straight matches, then 9. A mysterious force had spread through every player. They could do things they had never done before. It was as if a new superhero had joined the team. They needed 2 big wins to seal the championship and faithfully protect Ramtown from the evildoers in the Mountain West. The Rams beat the Bulldogs in a rematch. Then the big test, the rematch against the Wyoming Cowgirls. Bumblebee had 20 kills. Spider-Woman had 6 blocks. They whipped Wyoming. They had done it. They had wrapped up the Mountain West again. I pushed my way through the crowd and caught a glimpse. I needed a photo. I don't know why I don't just get an iPhone like everybody else. I got the shot, and I was right. A new superhero had come to the rescue, a hero they had known forever but were just now harnessing her powers. It was Super Sarah. She had made all the difference. She had defended Ramtown again, and the Rams had defended Ramtown again and won their 9th championship in 10 years. How did she do it? Will we ever know? So I'm back in my shoddy office in Ramtown finishing up my story. This time the story has an unexpected hero. The little sister they thought needed the most support, the most protection, may have been the strongest one of all. Sarah set an amazing example for her sisters. Her toughness, perseverance, her example of staying positive in life no matter how tough it gets. These are true superpowers. All this time her volleyball sisters were giving her love and support. It turns out she was giving so much more in return. My headline will be, Even Superheroes Need Someone to Save the Day. I'll write that these Ram volleyball superheroes can leap tall buildings. They can smash a ball into little pieces. They can dig and block like a bulldozer on a busy highway. But that's not all it takes to win a match or a championship. They had to develop toughness, to be positive about life. They had to be a team. Sometimes you learn those lessons from the most unassuming person around you. Super Sarah was an example of all these traits. And I won't forget to mention that just under the surface was the most important power of all, love. Thank you.